Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I was meditating upon a few things, um, mainly dealing with the deliverance, all right, the chariots, and a couple of scriptures. And so that's why I put the title "Come Up Hither." I didn't even put "Come Up Hither," but I had it written down. But I believe the title is "The Words You Want to Hear." Okay, the words you want to hear. Which there are a few precepts that I have in here that I got the inspiration for the title from. Okay, and ultimately, as we each and every one of us, all right, man, woman, and child, that are believers, that are a part of the body of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, okay, and that are striving to give diligence to make our calling and election sure. At the end of the day, there's certain words that each and every one of us wants to hear. And those words are ultimately what's going to be said by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. The words that are going to let you know, all right, whether, you've been granted mercy for salvation, okay, or whether you've been destroyed. But we are looking to hear, all right, the words of mercy, the words of salvation. And so, in hopes of that, we continue to labor. All right. In hopes of that, we continue to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai with fear and with trembling. All right. Not wavering and not hesitating, because there is a promise, okay, that we are all trying to partake of. All right. And we understand that where we are right now, all right, in this captivity, seeing the things that are going on in the world, we are that much closer. All right. As a matter of fact, we are closest now than any of us have ever been, whether in this life or any of our past lives, to the salvation, to the promise, all right, and ultimately to the kingdom. All right. And that's why we ought to be excited. And it doesn't mean that you have to, wake up every day jumping out your bed, screaming all, out of excitement, but showing forth excitement to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai through our diligence in doing his work, through the passion and the zeal that we show forth when it comes to doing the Lord's work or serving the Lord. All right, which means going out there on the highways and the byways, being instant, in season, out of season. Okay, reading the scriptures and looking at it. Well, how can we apply, the scriptures more to our lives? Okay, how can we be a better us today than we were yesterday? How can we draw nearer to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai? These are all things that you do to show your excitement, your enthusiasm, your faith to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And it's important that we do these things. All right, because we get only one shot. And we know through the spirit, of course, by the scriptures, that it's already predetermined who's going to be delivered, all right, who's of the elect and who is not. Nevertheless, in the carnal mind, so to speak, all right, or speaking as a man, we only get one shot, and you're going to find out if you made it or not upon the Lord's, decision, okay, and his return. So I always say this, that instead of, sitting down, oh, am I of the elect or am I not of the elect, or am I this or am I that? Well, these are things that we're gonna find out. But what are some things that you know? Well, I know what the instructions for me to do are. I know the directions. I know the path that I have to walk. All right. So the things that I can do, the things that I know to do, I'm gonna do them, and I'm gonna do them to the best of my ability. So even if I do come up short, or even if it's not enough, or even if I'm not perfect, at least what I can say is that I did the best that I could. Okay. And at that point, it's up to the Lord, to have mercy, whether he will or not. So that's enough talking. Now let's get into these precepts. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 1. And you can see the title, it says Babylon is fallen. And that's exactly, all right, what we are witnessing right now. And the Lord is about to bring this place down very speedily. Okay, as the scriptures talk about sudden destruction, this place is coming down very speedily. All right. So Revelation chapter 18, verse 1, it says, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory." And mind you, a lot of these, I should just say, these visions that the Apostle John was receiving while he was on the island of Patmos, these were things that he actually saw, that the Lord opened up his eyes and showed him these things. Okay, and he wrote them down, certain things. So there were a lot more things revealed to John than we read of in the book of Revelation, because there are certain things that the Lord told John not to write. Okay, he may have seen it, not may, he saw it, but he just couldn't write it down. The Lord told him, don't write it down. All right. So it says here, verse 2, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird." So why did the angel say that Babylon has become the habitation of devils? All right, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Because what's going to happen to Babylon after the destruction of this place, which, let's get a precept on that. Now, if my memory serves me right, I believe in Isaiah 13, getting to the last verse, let's see, Isaiah chapter 13, it speaks on the destruction of America, or Babylon, I should say. So let's go down. There we go. Now, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17. So when you get to the latter part of the book of Isaiah 13, it basically deals with the war, all right, the war of Armageddon, or the destruction. And it says Babylon will fall to the Medes. Now, we know in Isaiah 13, the Medes here are actually referring to the Russians. Okay, not the actual Medes. Okay, and even when you read in like the book of Ezekiel 38, there's particular names that are used to refer to other people or other places that may not necessarily go back to those names. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is you may have a certain region in which the people that dwell there today are of a different nationality, but when you read the scriptures, it calls them by a name of another people. And that is a part of the mystery of the scriptures. Okay, that is a part of why you need to have breakdowns, so that you can see where the pieces fit together, so that you can see, okay, when it says this, all right, based on what it's describing, or based on how it's talking about it, we know that it's just, or the scriptures are speaking in code at this point. Okay, and that's why you need precepts upon precepts to break and decode the message. So Isaiah 13 and 17, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them." And the Medes, like I said, are the Russians, the modern day Russians. So now what you see going on between NATO and Russia, dealing with Ukraine and whatnot, is just one of many particular things that the Lord is using to stir up the Medes. Okay, he is using it to put hooks back into the jaws of Gog and Magog. To what? To turn them back. Because if the Lord does not stir up that spirit in them, then how will they go to war? Understand that these nations, especially like Russia and China, they speak from a defensive point of view. They speak from, well, we'll retaliate if you attack us, or if you provoke us. But ultimately, we don't want a nuclear war. So that is why the Lord needs to stir them up. That's why he needs to put an evil thought into their mind. That's why he needs to make them go to war, because according to prophecy, that is how things have to play out. And that's why the scripture says, not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth. It's up to the Most High. what he wants to happen is what happens. So Isaiah 13 and 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Against who? Against Babylon. All right. Amongst many others, but mainly who? Babylon, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Because when it gets to the point of war, it's not you're not going to be able to set up a treaty, a deal, pay them off. They're not going to be in that mindset. They're going to be in the mindset of destruction. Verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. So it's speaking once again parabolic here. All right. The bows are not talking about actual bows, but it's referring on to the nuclear missiles. Because the same way a bow is used to shoot forth an arrow, right? The missile silos are used to shoot forth the missiles. Okay, so though it says bows here, it's really referring, all right, onto the nuclear missiles. All right, and so it's going to dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. So they're not going to regard the fact that you have children and women and all different ages and types of people here. They're going to shoot those missiles. Okay, it says their eyes shall not spare children, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. So there you go again. Now the Chaldees were you could consider them the higher class, the esoteric class, right? The upper echelon of the Babylonians, right? Of the Babylonian Empire, so to speak, right? The Babylonians. And so here it's using that term Chaldees, but it's really referring on to modern day America. All right. They're like it says, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. Okay, the nobles, the elites, okay, they would be considered the higher class in this area, all right, or over Babylon. It says, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happened when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah? It was completely destroyed, all right, with fire. And that's what's going to happen here. The Lord is going to completely destroy this place with what? With fire. And the same way, because what else happened at the time of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah? The Lord delivered Lot and his family. And then, or I should say, the Lord gave them a fighting chance. But then what happened? His wife turned back. So it's the same thing today. You have people, we've been given a fighting chance, right, to be delivered out of this place, but you're going to have those that are going to get delivered, and then you're going to have those that are going to look back and be destroyed. Verse 20, it says, it shall never be inhabited. So America, this land where we are at right now, we will be the last inhabitants of this land. After it's destroyed, there will be no civilization, no building. Nobody's going to live in this land anymore. Okay? It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. So we could be 1,000 years, a million years in the future. We ain't going to come back here to Babylon to come and dwell here and build here. All right? And shalom, shalom. How about Shem Yahushai Barakatam to you all? Okay? So it says, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts. So now you see this is going to go line or go with what we read in Revelation, the 18th chapter. All right. So it says, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Okay, so when the Lord says, all right, it's time, that's it. This place is done. Okay, so pretty much after this place gets destroyed, you're gonna have just these desert creatures, all right, and these other creatures as we just read about in Isaiah 13, and we're reading about in Revelation 18. Those are the only ones that are going to be dwelling here. Okay, so back to Revelation chapter 18, verse 2, it says, and he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right. It says, yep, that's right. Yep. This the elder brother Manat Zakba, Isaiah 34 and 9. It says, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch. Yep. And the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. Okay, so now what's gonna cause that? That's gonna be that fire, that destruction. Okay. Verse 10, it says, it shall not be quenched night nor day, the smoke thereof shall go up forever, from generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. There you go. That's a beautiful precept right there to back up the point. Okay. Verse 11, it says, but the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness, because that's what's going to happen to this place after it's destroyed. It's going to be uninhabitable, if that's a word, right? Nobody's going to be able to inhabit it, and it's pretty much going to be a wasteland. Okay, you may come here now. We may know that, hey, at one point, people used to live there, used to have all the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty in New York and this. But if you were to, take a look at the map on here, you wouldn't be able to see where New York was, where this place was, because it's just going to be, that's what it says, the line of confusion. You will not be able to tell, oh, this part was here or this part was here, because that's how badly the Lord is going to destroy this place. All right. So that day of the Lord is going to be a very intense and a very scary day, even for those, all right, that are going to be delivered. Lord willing, we are a part of that. It's going to be a very scary day. Okay. So verse 3, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. So who are the kings of the earth? The kings of the earth are the rulers of these various nations, whether presidents, whether actual kings, whether prime ministers. All right, these heads and rulers of these other nations have committed fornication with her. And how did they commit fornication with her? By partaking of, whether through trade deals or through agreements, but one way or another, you may use the term Americanized. Okay. And ultimately America spreads cancer. And that's why when you actually go back, when you look at places like Japan, right, the Japanese or the Ammonites, before, they didn't used to dress the way they dressed. Okay. They didn't used to wear these suit and ties. They used to wear their ancient garments, so to speak, right? They used to wear those. They used to keep their old ways and traditions. But now you see a lot of countries adopting the ways, all right, of this American cancer, and so a lot of them are leaving behind all those ancient ways, and they're all adopting this new way of life. But all this leads to is what? More chaos, more destruction, more confusion. Okay. You have places at first where they didn't tolerate sodomites or anything of that sort, and now they're becoming more open to it. Okay, whether it's through being paid off or being threatened or being told that, hey, if you don't basically do what we say, then we're gonna blackball you or we're gonna do whatever. There's actually something you can look up called, if I'm saying it right, the Kissinger depopulation policy, right? Where these elites actually tell these other countries, they tell the leaders of these other countries, you need to depopulate, okay? Meaning you need to push Planned Parenthood more. You need to push birth control more. You need to push contraception. You need to push any way to increase the death rates and decrease the birth rates. And if the country refuses, then they tell them, okay, we're going to set up a civil war in your country, or we're going to set up a situation in which a lot of bloodshed can come about, and we will reduce the population for you. So they actually give them a certain cap, a certain number or quota in that sense of this is where you have to reach. And if you don't, then we will step in and we will do it. So you may see out of nowhere, they'll make an excuse and say, oh, such and such is going on over here. And then all of a sudden, look who's there. Oh, we're here to fix it. You know, they need medical help, but yet you're loading on troops with guns. Why are you sending a whole plane full of armies of troops with guns and you're talking about medical and scientific help they need over there? How does that work? Right? So, continuing in Revelation chapter 18, verse 3, it says, "And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." Verse 4, and I heard, so here's the key part as to what I was mentioning earlier. And I heard another voice from heaven, from heaven, saying, right, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." Because what is going to be her ultimate plague? The destruction that is going to come by the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And it's going to be by thermonuclear fire and whatever level of degree of heat of those lasers that are going to come from those chariots, and any other means of fire that the Lord is going to destroy this place by. So I guarantee you, you do not want to be on the soils of this place when that destruction starts to hit. You want to be one of those that there you go with the title, the words you want to hear. So one of those phrases is, "Come out of her, my people." You want to be a part of this. Okay, you want Revelation 18 and 4 to apply to you. Because if Revelation 18 and 4 does not apply to you, then I mean, you're going to get the opposite. You will receive of her plagues. You will be burnt along with this place. All right. And the Lord said, I believe it's in the book of Ezekiel. It might be the 28th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, but it mentions the Lord said he's going to melt you. He's going to gather you into the midst of the fire, and he's going to melt you there and leave you. Okay. Nah, I don't want to be left behind. you know. So verse 5 says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities." So, of all the things that go on here, trust and believe it will not go unpunished, because the Lord has remembered her iniquities, all of it, every single one of it. If the Most High knows how many strands of hair are on everybody's head, trust and believe he remembers all the iniquities that these people have committed, especially against the apple of his eye, especially against those that are trying their hardest to serve our Lord. We are literally like in ancient Egypt, where we are looking, we're trying to get out of this place so we can truly serve our power. But the modern day Pharaoh says, no, I'm not going to let you go. Right? He who opened not the houses or the house of his prisoners. Okay. They have kept us captive. All right. And this is why we, like I said, we do the things we do, because we want to hear, "Come out of her, my people." Okay. That's the end goal ultimately, because that is salvation. Coming out of her is going to be said, but it's literal. The elect are going to get beamed up at this point, and you want to be on those chariots. Okay. Before even looking at the reward of the new bodies, the crowns, the eternal, like the glory, seeing Yahushua, that relief. Okay, that relief. I mean, just think of how much of a load is just gonna be lifted off of you. You're gonna feel so light, because you might even feel weird, because we're so used to every day waking up having to do something. Every day you wake up, you have to do something. And if you're not doing anything, you feel like, whoa, did I miss something? Am I forgetting something? Is there something that and most of the time you probably are, and it will come back and bite you in the ass. Okay. But when that time comes, that's the end of our work. That's the end of our labor. We don't have to go out to the highways and byways anymore. We don't got to do videos anymore. And I'm not saying it as though it's this big burdensome thing that we just hate so much and, oh, finally. But I'm just saying we do this in the hopes that we're doing at least enough to where the Lord can have mercy on us. But at that point, our hope will be manifest before us, and we won't need to have that, quote unquote, anxiety of hope, okay, because it will be right before us. And that joy, that's going to be a real instance of joy unspeakable. Having our most wanted dream actually get fulfilled, and that's going to be when we get delivered out of here, when we get beamed up, and we see Yahushai, and we get those new bodies, and we can actually begin to live, and not just get by day to day trying to survive. Right? It feels like somebody's constantly got their foot on your neck. Everywhere you turn, there's just some madness that you have to see, involuntarily, right? But anyway, the Lord is going to take care of all of that. And that's why for now, as close as we are, we just got to keep our head down and keep trucking. All right, regardless of how cold it is, or what scoffers come from what neck of the woods saying what manner of things, you know what? We just got to suffer it all, because the reward will be well worth it, as Paul said. That glory, nothing that we've experienced here is gonna even compare to that glory. Um, Verse 6: reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. So that's the thing about Babylon, really about Esau, because you don't realize, or whether you do or not, all the things you're doing, you're gonna get back double according to your works. So you want to wake up every day, or devising iniquity upon your beds. We're not gonna do iniquity, but we will punish you twice as much. Okay, and it's gonna hurt a million times as much. Okay, and you're gonna feel like your Sabbath days are much shorter and your work days are much longer. Okay, because we're gonna be gods. And yeah, we may, a day may be the span of, maybe you may say, 24 hours, right? But remember, perception is deception. And there's that saying, time flies when you're having fun. That's not just a saying. That comes from somewhere. Because when you're doing something that occupies your brain, your perception of time is sort of, sped up, because you're not focused on time. Your attention is focused on what you're doing. And that's why when we do these lessons, or we get in the spirit, it feels as though time moves by so fast. I don't remember how many times, myself or anybody else, may say, oh, it'll be a quick lesson, right? And here you are, an hour later. It's always a quick lesson, and then it's an hour later. Because once you get into it, you're focused. All your focus is drawn into what you're doing. So you don't even sense or realize the time that's ticking by, right? Now, when you're doing something that you don't want to do, and that you are looking for any opportunity to distract yourself from whatever it is, maybe you're in a boring lecture, or maybe I don't know, when you're in an uncomfortable situation, and you just think, damn, I can't wait for this to be over. Can it be over already? Your mind is constantly on time. Can it be over already? I want this to be over. So it feels as though time is moving very slow, right? You're sitting in class and you're like, damn, I got 50 minutes. And then you do everything you can, and you come back and it's only been 2 minutes, because your mind is constantly focused on that time. So it's not a hard thing for us to alter these devils' perception, and have their Sabbath days move by so fast to them, and have those work days feel so long and agonizing and painful. We can most definitely do that, and we will most definitely do that. Okay. So once again, reward her double, or double onto her according to her works. So you go ahead and do what you have to do. But at most, you're going to get what? Martyrs. But that's going to be by the will of the Lord. But you're not going to get to touch or harm the Lord's elect. And in return, you will be touched and harmed. So it says, in the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So, I mean, oh man, how can you live deliciously knowing what's coming to you? But you know what? That's why they're so mad at us, because they cannot continue to live deliciously, because now their conscience is bothering them. And that's why you have the vocab alones and the rest of the other Edomites that cannot sleep right. They can't enjoy their food because the second they think of us, they remember the scriptures we bring out, they lose their appetite. So we're like the Mordecai to their Haman. And every time they see us, their mood just gets soiled because they remember the plague, the trauma of the mind of these precepts that we hit them with. And you know why it troubles them so much? Because it's not in their favor at all. Who wants to hear who wants to hear that you go into captivity for 1,000 years? Who tell me who wants to hear that? You're going 1,000 years. Whoa. And not only that, you're going to serve those that you did and are continuing to do or commit the worst atrocities against. I mean, that kind of captivity is not something that you look forward to. Nobody looks forward to captivity, let alone that kind of captivity that is endorsed by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So of course they would feel a type of way. Of course they will fight it in every way, shape, or form in hopes that they can find some loophole that can help them sleep at night. And though they come out here and try to sound all scholarly and sound all calm and sound as though they brush us off like, well, yeah, they're whatever, they're just saying whatever. They are very hurt because of scriptures like this. Okay. So what does it say? Revelation 18:7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. What is the Lord? Is the Lord is he endorsing this torment and sorrow? I thought God was love, right? But you know what? This is love. This is love for the Israelites. So it says, "For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her." And these are the words written, and hey, we definitely have no problem with that. Okay, so moving on, the next precept is Isaiah chapter 26, all right, verse 20. All right, because come out of her, my people. Where are we gonna go? We're gonna go up. Now, in a lot of these movies and um cartoons and TV shows, when they deal with the end of the world and the return of the Lord, they bring the rapture, where when people hear the rapture, people just go up into the sky. But you need to ask yourself, where they going. Hold on a second. If you got human beings in their human form, and their clothes all of a sudden drop, all of them, right? It drops off them, and they just start to go up into the air. How high do they go before they hit the point of the oxygen getting thinner, and then soon they don't get the oxygen they need, and then what, they suffocate? Where are they going? How high are they going? What happens? Do they just disappear? Where did they go? Right? The story never gets past that, right? The rapture, you just get beamed, you just get go, you just fly up. Fly up where? Where? Okay, but we understand that those that go up are going to go up into a chariot. Come up, right? Come up hither. Hither is like come here, come up here. Where's the here? Right? So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 26 verse 20. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." So this Isaiah 26:20 can also go with Revelation 18:4, because Isaiah 26:20, "Come, my people," meaning come up into thy chambers, which are the chariots. And so that we may be hidden from the second death, right? On who the second death has no power, so that we don't get caught up and destroyed in this destruction that's coming. And so the Lord is going to have his elect up there for a period of time, as it says, a little moment, and then they're going to come back down. Now, how exactly, the details of all that, we will find out, you know? Can the Lord make it so you're up there and it feels like you've been up there for a long time, but in actuality, it's only been a little bit? We'll find out, right? Verse 21 says, "For behold, the Lord cometh." So, what is the indignation? The indignation is the destruction, okay, the fire. And while this is going on, when the elect, Isaiah 26 and 20, they go up into those chambers, what are they looking down at? They're looking out down at the destruction, and that's in Revelation chapter 15, verse 2. The sea of glass mingled with fire. That's what the elect are going to see when they look down from the chariot at the destruction going on, as they're being hidden, right, as it were, for a little moment. That little moment is when they're going to be seeing that destruction below. And then after a certain period, they're going to come back down. How do we know that? Revelation, the 21st chapter. That's what John saw. He said he saw the Jerusalem, right, the holy city, coming down from God out of heaven. That is right here, right, as it were, for a little moment. So after that little moment is when the Lord is going to bring his elect back down. All right, because the scriptures say the saints shall take the kingdom, right, and the earth was made for us. So will we not have to come down and subject the earth and reign on the earth? So we got to be on the earth to reign on the earth, right? So verse 21, it says, "For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity." So what is their iniquity? Their iniquity is their disobedience, their disregard, starting with the nation of Israel, to take heed to the words and the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. 1 Peter 4 and 17. "For your disobedience, you will be punished." And the punishment of the Heavenly Father is not a light punishment. It says, "The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." All right, which when you read in verse 19, also talks about the earth casting out the dead, right? Those that are in her being brought out, okay, which is also spoken about in Revelation 20. Okay, so next precept, which is gonna also go in line with the title. Let's get that real quick. Matthew 25, verse 14. Okay, as to the words you want to hear. And really, ultimately, what we're going to read here in Matthew 25 and 14, all right, are definitely, you definitely want to hear these words, right? So Matthew 25 and 14, it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods." Now, when Yahushai went back to, because remember, we're reading a parable here, and it's being spoken in parabolic form to represent something. And when Yahushai went, he said he would pray the Father, and the Holy Spirit will come down. Now, we've all been delivered, we've been given these goods, okay, these goods. Verse 15, "On to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1. To every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey." So the Lord knows the amount that he gave to everybody based on their different ability and their spirit. So certain individuals have more than others, and the Lord measured it that way. But if you have more, it means if you have more, then more is required of you. Okay. Nevertheless, it's all, according, it's like on an individual basis standard, because that's how the Lord is going to deal with you. He's not going to say, well, if I gave 2 to the next man and I gave you 5, and the next man did 2 and you did 3, I'm not going to say, well, because you did 3 and he did 2, 3 is more than 2, so you're good. No, I'm going to say, I gave you 5. What is 3? And you may say, well, he only got 2. And you say, well, I gave him 2. Right? So what the hell is your problem? Why don't you focus on you? I'm dealing with you right now. I'm dealing with you. Okay. So as much as we are all in this race, the next brother's legs are not running my race. And my race My race that I'm running, my legs that I'm using, I'm not running the race for him. Okay? We may encourage each other, but everybody has been given their own set of legs. And we all have different levels of speed, different stamina, okay? Different breathing patterns. And you gotta use what you've been given to complete your race. Whether you come in first place, or you gotta complete your race. Okay, we all in the race, we all in the track, and we all running. Okay, yeah, some have longer legs, some have wider strides, but don't focus on, oh, this brother got wide, damn, this brother, he's going, oh my God. If your mind is, he's going, I'm trying to catch up to him, you're gonna burn yourself out, because now your legs are not that long, your strides are not that far. So now you're trying to do the most to try and catch up to him. If you've been given two and the Lord requires you to turn that two into another two, but you're looking at an individual who's been given five, who is required to turn it into five, and you've been given two and you're trying to turn it into five, you might burn yourself out. Okay? You might make a risky move and then lose that two. So you got to ultimately stay in your lane. Find your lot. Improve on what you've been given. Okay? How can I be an expert in my field? Okay, if I'm the eyes, how can I be the sharpest, keenest eyes there are? Instead of worrying about trying to be a brain or trying to do what the legs do, I'm the eyes. So let me focus on how I can see the furthest, how I can see the sharpest, how I can, that's what you should do. Whatever it is that, the talent the Lord has given you, use that. Okay, hone that, sharpen that. Because in the nation of Israel, there's a very, there's an envious spirit, okay, that lingers in the nation of Israel. And you can read about it in the scriptures. As where if Jake was just appreciative of what they were given, then you would be able to do great things on your own. But you got Jake that is very envious. And that's why you have a law on coveting. Because when you covet what is your neighbor's and you don't focus on yours, it may lead you down a wrong path. It may lead you down a path to do something you ought not. Okay? And sometimes sometimes if the potential you've been given, if only you sat down, prayed, and took advantage of that, you could be great with the potential you've been given. But you're so focused on the next man that you neglect the gift that you've been blessed with. You neglect the faith you've been blessed with. Everybody's unique in their own way. Yeah, we're all teaching the word of the Lord. We were brought in at different times. We speak differently, right? But we're all unique, and we all contribute something to the body of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So in order to have that ultimate perfect body, every part, every component of the body got to be at its best. So the toenails need to focus on being the toenails. Don't worry about the fingers. Don't worry about the nose hairs. Don't worry about the eyelashes. All right? Worry about what you got to do. Okay? Worry about your growth. So continuing, Matthew chapter 25, verse 15. Okay, and it says here, and unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained another 2. So 5 became 10, 2 became 4. But and isn't it's interesting, right? It's interesting how the one that was given 5 was able to bring back 10. The one that was given 2 was able to bring back 4. Now let's see what happened to the one that was given just 1. Right? As they say, you had one job. It says, but he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. So whether he felt it's just one, whatever. I didn't even get five. I didn't even get three. I got just one. I mean, or whatever spirit he was in. Let's see what happened when the Lord came back. It says, or when the man came back. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents. Now, think about it. If you were given 5 talents and you turned it into 10, when your Lord comes back, you would be excited to show him, yo, look how much I made. You know, you gave me 5, I brought back 10. Like you're excited to show them that what you did for them. It says, and brought back other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. So in today, what is that? Well, the Lord gives you a certain level of the spirit, a certain level of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Okay, because you have, for certain brothers to be able to do 2 videos, 3 videos a day, right? Or maybe you may have another brother that may do 1 video a day. Another brother may do a video every 2 days, right? It's the spirit. It's actually a spirit, because when the spirit jumps on you to do it, that's a spirit the Lord sends. Okay, and it's according to the measure He's given everybody. So if He gives you a greater portion, you'll find yourself in that spirit to do those videos more often, because there's a greater portion on you. So you can do 3 videos a day without feeling like you've exhausted yourself. As where if another brother who the Lord didn't give him that much of a portion tried to do it, he may feel very worn out. Okay. So it says here, verse 21, his Lord said unto him, here's the words that you want to hear. Well done, right? Let me highlight that. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Okay. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Those are the words right there. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Those are the words you want to hear from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, that is your ticket right there. Well done. That means I'm pleased with what you did. I'm happy. Okay, I'm satisfied. You're good, and you were faithful to me. Okay. It says, thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Now, why would he do that? Why would he say, well, you've been faithful over a few things, so I'm going to make you ruler over many things? Why? Well, when you look at the way promotions work, if you come into a job, you start off on the base level. Based on your performance dealing with the base level, you get a promotion to now deal with more things. And then based on your performance there, you get a promotion to now oversee the store. Then you may do good over there. Then the manager might say, well, now I want to make you a district manager. Okay, you're doing good over that. So now I want to make you a regional manager. You see? So based on how well you can handle a few, if you show me that, then I know that I can entrust you with more. So that's why the Lord said, you've been faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. If you've been able to do what I required of you, because that's how do I put this, right? Even the most complicated equations, mathematics, physics, they all come from a base level, right? Addition. 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 will give you ultimately the Pythagorean theorem and all those, complicated, calculus and what that all has. When you break it down, it starts somewhere small and then you build on it. So if you can get it to perform those basic operations, then you can pretty much get it to perform complicated operations. So if you can be loyal over what the Lord has required you to do now, then He knows that you can do the work, if He needs you to do more. So even the way we move now, the Lord is looking at that. And that's a part of, what he's keeping in mind. So he knows I can make you, because what are the 144,000 going to be? They're going to be what? Judges. Okay. Now, all of the elect are going to have a position in the kingdom, but in terms of, at least we know, in specifically the 144,000, they're going to be judges, rulers, right? They're going to be the governing body. So, well, how well can you govern things now? And if you can't govern things well enough now, how can I then put you in charge of a nation? So it says, enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. Verse 23, his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. So he was also good and faithful. Now he was given 2. He didn't come back with 5, right? He didn't come back with 10. Came back with 4. He passed according to what the measure, the bar that was given to him. It says, and thou hast been faithful over a few things, I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, oh Lord. Then comes the excuses. Oh, well, I knew you are a hard man. Even you know it, Lord. You reap, reaping where thou is not sown, gathering where thou is not strawed. So I was afraid, so you were afraid. So what? So I went and hid thy talent in the earth, lo, there thou is that is thine. You think that's what the Lord wants to hear? So I gave you all this time, and the best you could come up with was, I'm an austere man, you were afraid, so you went and hid my talent. So what you think the owner, when he came and when he heard this BS, what you think? He was upset. All right, he was furious. Verse 26, his Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, you damn nigga. What was I supposed to buy that excuse? Thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not. So you said it, right? And gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchanger. See, one thing you don't play with Jake. You don't play with Jake's money. You don't play with their family, but you don't play with Jake's money. Jake is very, very irate, when you mess with that. So here it is. You've been given 1. You had 1 job. You were given 1 talent. At least turn it into 2. You want to put it, and that's these individuals who've been given the knowledge and they don't want to do anything with it. You have all this knowledge, you know the truth, and you playing different games. You're using it for something other than what the Lord needs you to use it for. Our job is to what? Is to buy this truth and sell it not. Our job is to what? Is to eat this whole roll and go and teach the nation of Israel. Okay, our job is to what? Is to feed the Lord's sheep. We've been given the understanding. We've been given the ability to speak. We've been given the spirit to teach. So that is what we are supposed to do. Verse 27, thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. So now he got 11. Verse 29, for unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant. The unprofitable. You don't want to be an unprofitable servant. I hired you, but you're not. What are you doing? You're not doing anything for me. You're not making me money. If anything, you're costing me. So, and cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, and that's going to happen. All right, when your ass is burning in that heat, and there's going to be weeping, but that weeping ain't going to do nothing for you. Okay, so now let's I only got about 2 more precepts. The book of Philippians chapter 3, verse 21. Okay, and that's also a part of those, the blessings that come with, well done, my good and faithful servant. So this is Philippians 3 and 20. For our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord Yahushua Hamashiach, who shall change our vile body. Okay, who shall change our vile body. That's going to be the first thing that happens when you get beamed up. Your body's going to be changed, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body. Now that unprofitable servant, that napkin nigga, he ain't going up into that chariot. Okay, he's going to be stay right here, and that missile is going to see him face to face. The only change that's going to happen to him is his body going from the way it is to now being melted. That's the change that he's going to get. It's going to be fashioned like onto fire. Okay, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things unto himself. Okay, and so and this is a part of the reason we go out there and we fight, because there's something that we're fighting for, something greater than anything this world can offer. So we have to work hard. We have to work as hard as we are required, because I mean, this is something real heavy that's on the line here. And I say this time and time again that we don't even realize the magnitude of what we're involved in. But when the Lord opens it up, when he puts this truth at the level, the pedestal that it's gonna be on, everybody's gonna see. Okay. Now this is Romans chapter 13, verse 11. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than what? Than when we believed." Okay, so as you look around and see the things that are going on in the world, these are called end time prophecies. And with the end time comes salvation. So our salvation is closer than when we even think. And what does that mean for us that are working? That means we have to keep working. Blessed is the servant whom when his Lord cometh shall find so doing. Find so doing what? Doing what he was asked to do, which is to what? To eat this roll and to go and feed the Lord's sheep. Okay, that is what we've been required to do. Let me see what brothers had on here, because I know brothers are putting some good precepts here. Let's see. This is Yaharl's Judah Israel, Ephesians 4:15. It says, "But speaking the truth in love may grow up unto him in all things, which is the head, even Hamashiach, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part." Yeah, because we're all, look, you want to look at the human body, for example, right? Look at the human body, for example. Now, we only know so much. Okay, there's things that we don't even know about the body and why they're there. Okay, and you got people that'll take out one kidney or take out an appendix or take out this here or remove their tonsils here. And do they even stop for a second and say, well, hold on a second, well, why did the Lord put them there? If I didn't need it, why did the Lord put them there? It's not because you didn't need it. You just got a lot of people that don't understand why it's there. So they think, well, it's just, I could just have it. I could just take it out if I wanted to. I could donate. I could put the. There's a reason the Lord had it. Every part of the body is here for a reason. If it wasn't needed, it wouldn't be a part of the design. You see? So every part of the body is essential for the body to have that full functionality. And when you take out certain parts, you lose certain things that you may not be aware of. Okay? So that's why the measure of every part that is fit together in the body of Yahushua is needed. All right. This is Yahar's Judah Israel, Romans 11:33. It says, "Oh, the depth of the riches, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out." And you know what? That's why we're gonna have all eternity, okay, to learn and explore the ways of the Lord, because there's so much out there. I mean, the Lord gave us one planet, and it's been thousands of years, and we still don't even know the actual the true things of this planet, of just the planet Earth, of just the elements on the planet, on how even the basic things we barely understand. How much more for the in-depth, I mean, so it's no wonder we're gonna need all eternity to be able to just search these things out. And even that will not be enough time for us to search these things out. All right. So don't worry about the kingdom. We're gonna have things to do. Okay. We're gonna definitely have things to do. Okay. Um Yeah, so I'm gonna end it here. Okay, Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. All right, as I titled it in the beginning, the words you want to hear. Okay, come up hither and well done, my good and faithful servant, or thou good and faithful servant. And there's many others, in the scriptures, but these are just a few that I picked out. And in order to get that, you need to what? You need to give diligence to make your calling and election sure. Okay. So with that, I hope you've been edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kudash. Until next time, Shalom.